At the World Player Association building, which is also known as the General Association, Taeshik was pointing down the hall and telling Giju that representing members are meeting there, so he will be going into the meeting room. Giju asked if he really didn't need to attend with him, and Taeshik grinning evilly asked if he really wanted to go in with him, and if he was finally ready to sign a contract with him and become an official member of the association team. Giju answered nervously, no, he didn't want to. Then stated that he was just wondering what the point was of bringing him here, since it's not like he's doing anything. Then Taeshik told him it was more of a formality. Since this is a place where the key figures from each association gather, so it's normal for them to be accompanied by a bodyguard. And right now, since most of the top talents of the associations are rankers, but that wasn't exactly the case in the past. This is to prevent anyone from climbing over everyone else's heads, and it's also to keep each other in check. In any case, everyone inside is a world-renowned player, so don't cause any trouble. Giju, still nervous, answered that he knows that, since when has he caused trouble? Then Lu spoke up, asking his master did he really not remember any times, and as Giju was answering that of course not, but then recalled all his episodes. Starting from his angry flare-ups in the tower, wearing the ridicule's mask as he triggered a gate break, fighting with red players, then his confrontation with the Iron Guild, and finally his recent complications with his 3 angels. His face turned a shade darker, as he finally recalled them all. Then as Taeshik waved and said see him later, Giju came back to his senses and replied alright. As he entered his own waiting room, the other people noticed his arrival. He came into a room full of people already seated in their seats waiting. He noticed that all the people gathered here were the strongest players from their respective country. Then someone said, "What a fascinating young man." As a long-bearded man came up to him and asked if he had some kind of special abilities, or was he just stronger than him? Since it's been a while since he hasn't been able to see through a person's abilities. This kind of shocked our hero, and he wondered who this person was. The long-bearded man introduced himself as Tao Chun from China, and his codename was Beautiful Beard. And Giju did likewise, shaking this man's hand, saying he was Kim Giju from Korea, and his codename was Morningstar. Then Giju recalled that Beautiful Beard was a famous high ranker in China. And Brunhard wondered how long it might take to grow a cool beard like that, and Lu just puffed. Then another high ranker from Japan came to introduce himself as Susanoo, saying he was at the bar yesterday, but didn't get a chance to introduce himself. Then Oil King came up and also said the same, introducing himself to Giju. As numerous requests to shake his hands came at him, he was at a loss for words for a moment, and thought that they were friendlier than he expected. Lu told him that they saw how strong he was yesterday, so there aren't many fools who'd try to make enemies with someone stronger than them. Smiling nervously, he shook all the hands and told them it was his pleasure meeting with everyone. At the moment, someone came in asking where's the Saintess, causing Giju to turn towards the voice. He looked at the standing figure of Michael in front of him. Recognizing the figure, he said his name, while Lu confirmed it, and Brunhard stated that he didn't like this person. Michael might be someone who was connected to Elle's past. Lu asked Elle if she was still sleeping, and when no response came, Brunhard said he guessed she's still not awake yet. Michael, stretching his hand out as a gesture of peace, said he was apologizing for his behavior from yesterday. Although he didn't do anything wrong, he'd been ordered to do so by His Eminence. Hearing this arrogance, Giju just walked by him, while Michael with his eyes closed continued to say that in any case, he didn't intend to fight with him today. Then opening his eyes, noticed that Giju was no longer in front of him. Turning around, he tried to get Giju's attention, saying that he wasn't done talking yet. At this moment, Lu said we finally meet again, to which a menacing grin appeared on Giju's face as he replies yeah. Then staring at each other, said long time no see, Iron Shield. A powerful killing aura emitted from Giju caught the attention of everyone in the room. The high rankers in the back noted that the power he used yesterday might not have been his full power. While Iron Shield was cursing at our hero, asking how the hell did he get so strong in such a short period of time. Giju, still grinning, said he missed Iron Shield and he was sorry for what happened with Rogers. Further provoking him, said that his feet has gotten pretty cool, drawing attention to the prosthetic leg he got from his last battle with the Demon King. This greatly angered Iron Shield, who had a furious expression, and he called our hero a punk. At that moment, someone suddenly opened the door to the room and shouted out for Morningstar, asking if Morningstar from Korea was here. Being a bit puzzled, Giju pointed to himself and said that was him. The new person shouted that he was being summoned by the association chairman and needed to go to the meeting room immediately. Still a little dazed, he wondered who this chairman of the General Association was. Then started to walk out of the room, and as he pasted by Iron Shield, the later told him to count himself lucky, to which Giju replied, "Speak for yourself." As Giju was walking out of the room, still pondered on why the General Association chairman would be looking for him, he pasted by a hooded figure. Feeling that something felt strange, he quickly turned to look behind him, and saw a hooded figure next to Iron Shield. Noticing the look, the hooded figure turned slightly to see Giju from the corners of his eyes. Upon noticing the individual, he asked Lu, and Lu confirmed that was so, saying that he realized a bit late, since he could be using an item to mask his presence. Lu confirmed that was a demon, and our hero wondered why would a demon be here together with Iron Shield. Inside the meeting room, Giju was standing in the center addressing all the representatives of their respective nations. They stared at our hero with solemn expressions. Giju was starting to get a bit nervous, thinking that he felt like a criminal or something. Brunhard said all these people were so scary, while Lu commented that both humans and demons are the same when it comes to people in authority trying to look powerful and intimidating. Looking around, Giju thought that there were strong players, and those who were not strong, but everyone here was a representative of their own countries who needed to be respected, so we better watch what he said here. Seated in front of him was one of the first 5 high rankers in history, the World Player Association chairman, the Blood Emperor. He asked our hero, why did he think they called him here for? Trying to get a handle on his nervousness, Giju was thinking that he needed to be careful with his reply, he must make sure to speak in a way that won't cause any misunderstandings. Then with full confidence, shouted he wasn't sure. Then froze with an awe expression. Everyone was silent at that moment, and everything started to turn white for our hero. Tashik face palmed himself. Lu asked if that was what he considered being careful of what he did, while Tashik let out a long sigh. The chairman said they called him here because they heard that he had some special information regarding the recent incident. Giju glanced over at Tashik nervously, who gave him the nod to say it was okay to speak. Then Giju started to say that they have probably already heard this, but he was at the scene when the unusual gate appeared, and he has checked through all 5 gates that appeared in Korea. He was able to find a few facts after the investigation, and that this is still just his assumption, but it seems possible someone intentionally caused this phenomenon to occur. Which shocked everyone who was listening. Thinking back to his investigation, Lu found both the timing and the distribution of the gates to be way too suspicious, and there's a good chance that Andres is the one behind this. Since there's no way he could do this by himself, he definitely had accomplices. Drawing him out of his thoughts, someone slammed his fists on the table saying that his statement was ridiculous. Zeus from the European Directorate asked if he was claiming that gates can now be controlled by humans, shouting there aren't any humans capable of doing that. Giju could only dumbly stare back at his comment, since he was a human capable of doing just that. But countered. How can he be so sure? It's not like he knew the abilities of all the players, for example, asking him if he knew the abilities he had. But Zeus only incredulously asked what, when the chairman told Zeus to sit down, stating that what he said made sense. Then the chairman turned to our hero and asked what proof he had for saying that. In response, he said that the proof was his unique ability, so he couldn't tell him about it, and he'd like to make this clear. He never said the culprit was human, the culprit is probably a demon. Then everyone around the table started to murmur about demons, and wondered even if it was a demon, could they really do this? Giju, looking at their reactions, thought that they were not as surprised as he expected, and Lu told him that's because they probably know about demons since they're the leaders of the world. It's likely Tashik told them quite a bit about demons. But Giju thought that's not all. The Blood Emperor, who is the World Player Association chairman and the representative of the country that Iron Shield belongs to. There was no way that someone as strong as him didn't realize that Iron Shield brought along a demon. To him, it looked like they're turning a blind eye to the demon. After the meeting, when they were back in Giju's room, Tashik asked him if he was alright. Since he got pretty emotional, which was unlike him, was that due to Iron Shield being there? Gidju, while sitting on his bed, said that it's because there are things he couldn't understand. Teshik asked if that's because Iron Shield brought along a demon, which surprised Gidju, who responded by asking he knew. Sitting down himself, Teshik said that he knows what he's thinking, not all demons are enemies. The Demon King is also working with a demon, isn't she? He also heard recently, demons are actually also pretty pitiful, to which Lu shouted, what the hell? Teshik continued to say that they were originally the rulers of hell, who lost their authority when the tower and hell merged. Although there are those who survived as they supported the ruler, most of them were abandoned, incarcerated, or executed, claiming that's why the gates are appearing. So there are a lot of demons on humanity's side as well. Demons that are of help to the leaders of each country are being overlooked and given a base, then suddenly stopped and cursed loudly. He turned to look at the incapacitated Gidju, who was foaming at the mouth, shouted the penalty. As Brunhart shouted to his master, and Lu just let out a long sigh. The next day, Gidju slowly stirred in bed, being watched over by El. When he opened his eyes, he was greeted El, who was glad her master was awake. Brunhart commented that he felt like he's seen this scene before, and Lu remarks that both the master and the subordinate are weak. Gidju, sitting up, was glad that El was up as well, and El apologized for inconveniencing him, but he told her not to worry about it, since it wasn't that big a deal. He told El to tell him about why she fainted later, since both Lu and he needed some time to sort out their thoughts, and she thanked him for his consideration. Then, shivering, he said more importantly, he was scared he'll get the penalty again, to which Lu called him a cowardly master. Then asked if people could attack others using the penalty, since for any players including himself who was below the 50th floor would be subject to the penalty just by listening to information. Lu was wondering why he hadn't asked that yet, and El said that she will try to explain it to the master. In order to apply the penalty, there are 3 prerequisites. Number 1, whether or not the listener is curious about the information. Number 2, whether or not the information gives the listener any type of potential power after they hear it. Number 3, whether or not the one who says it has any intention of attacking the listener. If any of these prerequisites aren't met, the penalty won't take place, and Gidju said that it's a lot more troublesome than he thought, and Lu remarked that it's not like the tower is totally thoughtless and careless. Then getting out of bed asked what time it was, but upon looking at his phone, he noted that the meeting has already started for today. Then El suggested for him to rest for a bit longer, since she has healed him, but it's better for him not to strain himself. He got up and said he was feeling better already, and he had something he needed to do, and Lu asked him what is it. Gidju said that since he was here and already met Iron Shield, it would be a pity to just go back like this. Then looking at the map on his phone, stated that New York was pretty far from here, but luckily they had domestic teleportation portals within the tower. So they were going to the Iron Shield Guild Tower right now. Ever since absorbing the gate and evolving, Brunhart has gained a new ability. It's the ability to open various gate entrances and leave them open in that location. For now, Brunhart can only open up to 2 such gates. Simply put, if he leaves a gate opened in America, he can use it freely to travel between his home base to America. As he grinned and laughed, saying, a portal that can function as a gate, it's like an advanced version of Sequa's ability. Brunhart thought himself to be amazing, and Lu remarked that when he said he had something to do with the Iron Shield, Gidju replied that's right. He was going to set up a gate under Iron Shield's guild building. Lu said that's all well and good, and he should be heading to the Iron Guild's building then. But why the hell were they here in the public toilet instead? Did he suddenly have to answer the call of nature? While undressing, Gidju explained that they're one of the top guilds in the world after all. It'd be hard to infiltrate from the front, and he didn't really have any stealth skills yet, and since there isn't any CCTV in the toilets. However, Lu asked how are these two things connected, and why was he taking off his clothes? Wait a minute, don't tell him. But Gidju explained that he'd be embarrassed as the master if he couldn't do what his subordinates can do, then using elemental water, changed his body into water, then with spirit fusion, used the skills by fusing with spirits of the same attribute. He was going to travel via the sewers to infiltrate the guild, as his transformed body went down the drain. Lu remarked that he did think this could be possible eventually, but to think that he has become this proficient, while El praised her master as a genius. However, to Lu, he didn't know how he should put this, but his master was becoming less and less human. Elemental water, fire and dark, skills that can change his bodies into specific elements. Elemental water can turn the body into water, elemental fire can turn the body into fire, and elemental dark can turn the body into darkness. With spirit fusion, one can use skills by fusing with spirits of the same attribute, and elemental skills are something Lu made possible for him to use, but what's important is that he now had a link to Lu. With this, he can help him to become proficient at elemental skills quickly. Before he had a lot of trouble changing his body into another substance, but he succeeded in it because these two skills had enough synergy with each other. After traveling the sewer in his water form, he reached his destination and started to change into a more humanoid form. Lu remarked that he was somehow able to make it. Looking upwards, Giju stated that he was sure the Iron Guild's building was above them, since he was able to use his energy detection to locate them. Lu asked if he was planning on deploying a gate here, since it could easily backfire on them if something goes wrong. Ignoring the warning, Giju proceeded to open a gate near the wall, and the system notified him that he can deploy one more gate at a fixed coordinate, and asked if he would like to deploy the gate here. In response, he confirmed and the gate was deployed. Then a foot started to step out from the opening. And the elder looked around the area and asked if this was the location underneath the Iron Guild, while Giju apologized for calling him here so suddenly. While covering his nose, the elder said that he did like being able to visit America, but it's unfortunate that it had to be the sewers. Then pointing to the gate, asked if he just needed to hide this gate, and Giju confirmed, saying that he was somewhat able to control the amount of mana leaking out from it, but even if it's in the sewers, there was no way to prevent people from entering this place. Then asked if he was able to do something, and the elder replied that since he no longer had Paymon's legacy, it was a bit tough to make an item with a function like that, but he can just leave everything to him and he will find a way, and if he ran into any problems, he can call Minsu to help resolve the issue. Then Giju, bowing respectfully, said thank you, while Lu remarked that when the elder said it's possible, then it's probably possible. And as the elder was about to step back into the gate, said that he would keep his secret hobby a secret, so he didn't have to worry about that. At that moment, Giju just stood there confused in his birthday suit, and Lu told his master that his skill wasn't in effect anymore. Then, understanding the situation he was in, tried to tell the elder that this was all a misunderstanding, but the elder just said sure and he will leave it at that. But Giju protested, saying no, he was telling the truth, but it soon fell on deaf ears. Then he used his skills again, turning back into his water form and traveled back to the bathroom. Then once again returning back to his human form, putting on his clothes, exited the public bathroom. As he exited the building, he commented that with this, he was just about done with all his business he had, and Lu sarcastically remarked, that what a fitting thing to say while coming out of the toilet. Then someone shouted, "Where did he go?" Which surprised Giju. He activated his egos, and turned to face the speaker with both his swords. Then recognizing the speaker, his face grew dark. Standing before him was Michael, who noticed the white sword that Giju was holding. Giju nervously thought to himself that he couldn't sense this person's energy at all despite how close he was, and wondered when this person started to follow him. Did he see what he had just done? Then gripping his sword tighter, he decided depending on what this person saw. At that moment, Michael said what murderous eyes he had, and was he intending to silence him by killing him? That seems like what a devil's agent would do. Then gesturing with his hands, said for him to calm down, since he didn't intend to fight him. Giju, still maintaining his fighting stance, asked him if he was following him and since when. But Michael said that there seems to be a misunderstanding here, he wasn't really stalking him, but just had business with the Iron Guild. Then pointing to Giju with a grin, said just like him. Giju became infuriated, asked him if he saw it. Elle tried to calm her master, while Lu said F it, just kill him. Faced with the killing aura coming from Giju, Michael raised his hands up and told him to wait, he was not here to fight. He only sensed his energy heading towards the Iron Guild, and he doesn't know what he was doing there. But judging by his reaction, he must have done something dishonest, no wonder he felt a strange energy underground. Brunhart shouted he got us, while Lu said that he seems to be telling the truth about not knowing what they did, so let's hear him out first. After hearing this, he started to calm down, and his killer aura started to fade. Then as Michael pointed to the Iron Guild tower behind him, said that he just had business with the Iron Guild, since the Iron Guild has quite a deep relationship with the Vatican. Then picking up on the word relationship, asked if it had something to do with the holy swords, to which Michael replied yes, and it seems he was aware of it. Then Giju noticed him shaking his fist in anger, as he continued to say that despite that fact, those people still dared to bring a demon along, as Michael's face contorted with anger. Lu noticed the intense murderous aura, and Giju wondered why was he having such an intense reaction. He guessed that it's actually natural for the Vatican to hate demons, but he recalled Teshik's words, saying that there are a lot of demons on humanity's side as well. Then Giju commented that wouldn't a player of his level already know, these are also many helpful demons, and Lu retorted that even he just found out about that yesterday himself. But Michael only asked Giju if he was mocking him. Then becoming even more enraged and covered with an even more intense killer aura, said how dare he say such a thing before him, despite knowing that the Vatican has fallen at the hands of demons before. But Giju stood there a little flabbergasted, since he didn't know that at all, and he was starting to feel kinda sorry. Michael said that he thought he might be different despite carrying the scent of a demon. But he guessed he shouldn't have tried talking to someone who's related to demons after all. Then he started to release a golden energy, which momentarily was so blinding that Giju had to cover his eyes. In the next moment, Michael stood before Giju with angelic wings spread behind him. He thought this crazy guy before him was an angel, and he has been hiding his powers. Then wondered if this man could be stronger than Su Young, the Demon King. Meanwhile, back at the LA American Association Hotel, Teshik was trying to get in contact with Giju, but his calls were not being answered. Sighing deeply, he was asking where on earth had he gone, since they needed to go back to Korea quickly. Then started to get agitated, wondering why things had become this complicated. Subscribe to the channel for the next part. Thank you for watching, until next time.